Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon and stay entertained. Tracking milestones of an incredible journey spanning 30 years. Rahman Music Sheets.
My kids keep asking sometimes, you're not, Daddy, you just keep going out. And so you need to spend time with us. I keep telling them, at least you have a dad. I didn't have a dad. My childhood was not a normal one. It's a space which I don't want to remember. It's a very dark phase of my life, I would say. Marriage, I think it was exciting and terrifying, both. Mere Paas Maa Hai, which means I have nothing but I have my mother. So mother's here.
While receiving his Oscar, why did Rahman give that speech? If I had not won Oscar that night, I knew there would be one person who would still love me, my mother. He was 9 years old when he lost his father. Since then, his mother became the center of his universe.
What do you remember of your childhood?
My childhood was not a normal one. I think it was, I was a bit secluded and I mainly lived in hospitals with my father getting treatment and sometimes and working. Maybe at the age of 11 or 12 I started working, so I didn't have the privilege of going out for sports or things like that. But I had personal time which I spent mostly with music, which is in a way good, a blessing.
You were very young when he fell ill. What memories do you have of your father?
The good things about which I remember, the good things which I remember about my father was that he was a kind man and he gave work to many people. And when I went to the studio to work after he passed away, I only heard good things about him. And that actually formed a foundation for my musicality and the way I treated musicians. And because every musician would come and say, I was suffering and he gave me a job and that's how my family is now doing well, and it feels very good, and you start appreciating what your father was really. And
So, did you even know what was going around you when your father passed away?
it's a space which I don't want to remember. It's a very dark phase of my life, I would say. And but a lot of good things happened after that, so in a way I feel that I'm unworthy of many things which has happened to me, and all the good things which has happened to me, and I'm really grateful to God and my family and all the people who pray for me.
As a child, you had many musical instruments around you. Did it help in shaping your musical journey?
It was a blessing in a way, because all these equipments which my father kept were very costly keyboards. And I was more interested in guitar at that time. I was learning guitar. And my mother suddenly said, why do you want to learn an instrument which is not there when you have so much of great stuff which your father's left? So why don't you concentrate more on these keyboards? And I said, okay. And I switched back to keyboard, from keyboard to guitar, guitar to keyboard again. And then when I went deep into it, I discovered that the interest in science which I had and music both culminated and in what was happening with MIDI and many things which came and synthesizers, which later I got so passionate about. And that's the foundation of what I'm doing now, because if I had not got interested those days, I wouldn't have learned, many things which has helped me so much now.
Habibullah Road, Chennai. This red building replaced the house where Rahman spent his childhood. By the age of 11, he had to be the sole breadwinner for a family of 5. School became secondary, not by choice, but by compulsion.
You had to start earning very early. Can you recall that phase of your life?
Yeah, it happened when I was in high school. One day my mother said, it's now the way it is. Now you have to go and work now because we can't survive otherwise. So it was a very steep decision where I was half-heartedly leaving my school campus, high school campus, and say that what's going to happen to me. But I felt good about being in music and being in such an extraordinary situation in a way. But also had this little kind of sadness leaving education. But I think that intention or that thirst is what made me constantly not stop learning. And every day you're hungry for knowledge, you're hungry for the truth, you're hungry for something exciting, rather than sitting and being complacent about what you've achieved or what you've gone through or what you have.
But when you were leaving your education midway, there must have been a whole lot of questions about your life, about your future. So were you apprehensive at that moment?
I was apprehensive, and I was constantly thinking that, okay, I'll do a couple of years of working and then go back and join. And that never happened. Because in that working space, there was only things which happened better and better and better. And extraordinary things again, which couldn't have happened if I had gone to school. So I had to appreciate things which when it came in and not disregard them as, something as a diversion.
Do you still regret not completing your school education?
No. Because I think what was good about spending the time in music is I saved so much of time. Being young, rather than starting late in something, I started early. And so I had the energy to do many things which I wouldn't have had if I had started later. And also discovered that what you learn outside the school is more than what you learn inside the school.
You earned rupees 50 for your first job. What was the job?
It's my father's friend, that M.K. Arjun, and he, I think a couple of years after my father died. So he wanted to use something. He wanted to initiate me in a way as a player. So the first one was doing this record player operation.
He started hiring out his father's musical equipments. Gradually, he became a session musician, a keyboard player. Next, a composer of advertising jingles. And then came Roja. While the nation was humming along the tunes of Roja, Rahman was composing for Rangila. That's when he married Saira Banu on 12th March 1995.
How did marriage change you?
Marriage, I think it was exciting and terrifying both. to know that you're going to live with another person whom you don't know, whom you didn't know before. And I think my intention was more spiritual than physical. And because of that, I could cling on to all the storm and everything which life, when you start, could happen. And we did have children, and then your whole loyalty towards family is split in a way, because it's you and a wife, and then it's your mother, and then how do you integrate all this stuff and go beyond a level where you see everybody as a family? Was the challenge. Because some cultural differences were there, but on the whole, I think that was the biggest challenges of my life, to face that. And so far, I would say, one of the biggest challenges. And not to take sides, but to keep everybody united was so important. Because every house has problems, and every house has got love. And so that was one of the major factors in my life which made me more deeper. I would say, in fact, that expanded my whole sensibilities of compassion and understanding, patience, many things, which then transformed into a larger perspective. Going from country to country, going from India to America, America to probably the Middle East, and then all over the place. And then you start understanding people for what they are and not be judgmental about anybody. And
you travel so much. How does that impact you and your family?
Yes, when my kids keep asking sometimes, you're not, Daddy, you just keep going out. And so you need to spend time with us. And I do spend time with them. I keep telling them, at least you have a dad. I didn't have a dad. So you should be happy about it. Your dad keeps traveling, that's it. He comes back. My dad never came back. So, and they get freaked out when you answer like that. And they know it's a truth, because each family is different, and the challenges within a family in different parts of the world are different. And so we always have to see what we are blessed with and not we are denied. And that's what I teach my kids.
Santa Monica Beach, an iconic example of California beaches. One morning, it was here when Rahman decided to open up about the darkest day of his life, the day he lost his father.
I think it was, I was in the 4th standard or something, and one of the teachers came and said that, whispered in another teacher's ear, and they said, you have to go home. And then I went back home and then discussed my father. But he was ill for almost 4 years, so our family had got used to, that he was suffering. So in a way, he was relieved of the pain, and by then you almost got, death is something, but still you got, it's a slow process in your mind which you started living with it and says, this is life. But I can still remember me cremating him and setting him on fire. I was as young as 9, and so that's one imagery which, some imagery in your life never goes off. It was 3 dark, funeral places where people cremate with sticks and things, and unforgettable.
Does this memory still haunt you?
It does haunt me, and then it makes you understand life better, because it all happened at the very early stages of my life. It does give you something else which a normal kid would have had.
Wherever Rahman went, success followed. From Roja to the Oscars and beyond. It's been a long and immensely satisfying ride for A.R. Rahman on the highway of life. On the way, he has loved people, and people have loved him back. In our next episode, we bring you 3 such love stories. Unusual tributes by Berklee College of Music, Fukuoka City in Japan, and 1,000 young girls in Dubai. Tributes that Rahman cherishes. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon, and stay entertained.